before I get to the issues of interference and intervention that Prof raised, I think you raised a fundamental question that I want to comment upon. Why are there shouts of rigging of elections? I think my brother today tried to throw light on that. I mean, when a politician faces an election situation and he thinks he's likely to lose, he is quite likely to start crying wolf. Okay, it's normal. It's human, and it's political. Okay, but what we are seeing in Nigeria in this election cycle is illogical, because President Muhammad Buhari has, under his watch, overseen the conduct of several elections. We've seen the election of Kogi, Bayelsa, Ekiti, Osun, Anambra. At least 5 governorship elections have taken place since President Buhari took over. And there is not one instance that anyone from the ruling party or the opposition party or any party for that matter will accuse the federal government of interfering with INEC's operations. Okay, so the president, I think, has a credible track record of non-interference in the running of INEC, okay, under 2 different heads of INEC. Yeah. So I think anyone that accuses President Muhammadu Buhari or his party of trying to rig elections is being too clever by half, or at best, or totally irresponsible and reckless, because there is no record of the president, interfering in elections and so on. And the best person to ask is the governor of Anambra State. He will give that testimony where the president even intervened to change security chiefs when the governor complained that some security chiefs have been compromised. Okay, so the president has been trying. So I think in the interest of Nigeria, in the public interest, we should stop being irresponsible and politicizing everything. Let's look at the record of this president and INEC. Secondly, I was quite visible in Osun in the last election, and I know what happened in Ekiti. I was also in Edo, and what I have seen on the part of INEC is rapid improvement in their operations. Their logistical capabilities have improved. Their capacity to conduct credible elections has been significantly improved. I was most impressed. I think we are getting to a point, in my view, that as a politician, I will not need polling agents on election day, because it will be nearly impossible to manipulate the results. So I am confident, based on what I have seen, from Kogi to Edo down to Osun 1. Osun 1, I mean the first round of Osun election, because I was there. I wasn't around for Osun 2. I think INEC is in a position to conduct and deliver very credible elections, and nobody should be afraid. You can only be afraid if you're sure you're going to lose and you want to create a foundation for future crisis. And this is what is worrying me. All the information, all the signals we are getting from the PDP indicates that, 1, they know they will lose these elections. 2, they want to delegitimize the results in advance. No one in the PDP can point at the leadership of INEC and say that they're in a position to manipulate election results. There is no record of that, even after we've elected 6 governors out of cycle. So they want to delegitimize the results in advance, so that when they lose, they say, we told you so. Number 3, it appears to me, and from all the intelligence available to us, that they are trying to create a crisis after the results are announced and they have lost. Okay? And I think every responsible Nigerian should rise up against this. Where does interference come in? I now come to Prof. Prof is trying to differentiate between interference and intervention. It is a basic principle of international law that no country should interfere in the internal affairs of another country. You can comment. We can comment on Brexit. We can comment. That's not interference. But when you come into a country and you make statements without facts that tend to complicate the internal governance of that country, that is interference, and that is irresponsible. What we have seen from the 3 countries, the US, UK, and EU, in response to the suspension of the Chief Justice, and trying to link the suspension of the Chief Justice to electoral outcome is the most irresponsible piece of diplomatic mishap I've ever seen in my 59 years of living in Nigeria. And I have read about international law. I have seen how countries operate. Those statements were coordinated. They were based on no information at all, and they were most irresponsible. And I'm happy that the presidency responded to it. Now, as Nigerians, we must understand that these guys can sit pretty in their countries and say things, but when the crisis breaks, we are here. We are the victims. We are the victims. Our wives and children are the victims. I must rise up and unite and say that no to violence in this country. We have every confidence that INEC will conduct credible elections. And we challenge everyone, the opposition parties, to point out what part of the logistical arrangements or the electoral preparations give room for any manipulation. Otherwise, they should shut up and go and get people to vote for them. We all do polls. Okay? A poll was released today, by the opposition, showing that they are likely to win. We have our own polls. We have our own polls that show something different. But let us not use our own internal polls or procured polls to try to delegitimize the election in advance. At the end of the day, Cyril, it is Nigerians, 84 million registered voters, that will line up and vote on the 16th of February. Let us wait for the results. And if the results are not what we expect them to be, there is a process to challenge them. We have election tribunals, challenge them. President Buhari did that 3 times. He never resorted to violence. He never called for violence. He went to the Supreme Court 3 times. Let these other parties that are not used to losing elections. We are used to losing elections. Those of us that came from opposition, we know the pain of losing elections. We know the pain of even elections being stolen from us. But we never resorted to violence. We went through the legal process. Even if it was unfair to us, we accepted the outcome. Let every Nigerian, let us all commit that we have a country, and we have institutions, and we should respect those institutions, allow them to work. If we have a suspicion that the security agencies are biased, as the governor of Anambra complained to the president, raise the flag. Let's give the authorities the opportunity to change them. But don't try to create trouble because your children have all been taken out abroad, or they are studying abroad, and it is the children of ordinary people that will be up in the streets killing one another. This is my appeal. Now, intervention is the higher form of interference, where countries intervene militarily. We've done that in Sierra Leone, in Liberia, but we only did so because we had the international community actually appealing to Nigeria to go in and restore order in that place. And it cost us a lot of money and lives, and we never got anything for it. We did it out of good neighbourliness. Sure. Okay, those that are calling for anyone to come and intervene in Nigeria, we are waiting for the person that will come and intervene. They will go back in body bags. Okay. Because nobody will come to Nigeria and tell us how to run our country. We've got that independence, and we are trying to run our country as decently as possible. And we know the history of those countries that are trying to teach us these things. We have read their history. We also know at their own stages of development, they went through these challenges. So please, let's work together. Let's advise one another, but don't lecture us.
All right.